Today we're going to talk about another concept in gamification, student agency in their education, giving them choice, making them feel empowered to want to do more work in the class. It's a very important topic and I really wanted to cover it briefly. So, in video games, students are always given a choice of the difficulty in a game. They could do all the quests, they could make it easier for themselves, or they could make it harder for themselves. That's their choice. In newer video games, there are side quests. In online video games, there are side quests. In other games, there is normal mode, hard mode, easy mode. Students can choose how they want to play the game. Now, as you can see in a game like this, they have choice of where they want to go. They beat the first few levels, they travel to more, but they can always go back to levels, they can always go different ways in a game of where they want to reach their goal in a video game. They can choose how they want to do it and how they want to complete all the stages. They have the options, they have the choice in a game. And more importantly, they're always able to complete the story at the easy level if they wanted to. But always, even after they beat it at the easy level, there's always a new quest, a new, more challenging way to beat the game. Now, in video games, along with choice, they always can beat the game at the easiest level. They can do the minimum that they want to complete a level. We think of that as the mastery learning, that C level of it that we've discussed before. However, they could always do more if they wanted to. It's their choice for the challenge, their choice for the harder quest. Students like that choice, and they can do it at what they want. Now, once they complete the easier level, or even before, they might want to do more for the game. And this is kind of those B and A levels we encourage in classes as well. They want to do the harder activities either for one of two reasons. They want to perform the challenges to gain extra features, like special bonuses and, in some games, better mounts, more special effects, prettier things to show, or they want to compete with their friends with leaderboards and competitions. These are reasons why they want to do harder activities, more features. They want the challenge, and they want a way to show off that they completed the challenge. Both of these are representatives of that. But students love to show off that they completed a challenge and want to work for that to gain that goal and pride. Now let's turn this to grading in games. Let's convert those scores in games and those rewards in games to school and how we can import those into our classes. One of the best things to follow is those attainable short-term benchmarks. There's always something that they could work towards in a class. So it's always that next level, it's always that next quest, it's always that next score boost. There's always something they can do to obtain more in the game. And you want to make sure these benchmarks are built into your grading system in your class. And also, early mistakes should never be held to the same level as more complex mistakes. Mistakes in the beginning of the class on smaller items should be worth less and impact a student's grade less than later assignments and more difficult assignments. This kind of goes to that easy to hard mode of video games. All video games start off easy, some with a tutorial. Later on, they get harder, more challenging. Those more challenging activities should have more weight to them in their score or a more weight to them in the class and a higher reward for them. But those early mistakes they should be allowed to make as they learn the game. And the more they learn the game in the beginning, the better they are suited to prepare for those challenges later on. However, grading in classes should also follow games that there should be a minimum skill level that a person is willing to accept. Doesn't have to be a percentage, but at least a measurable basic level. We saw in Candy Crush on an earlier slide those 3 stars. Star 1, they should always be a challenge to get to, but that is the minimum skill level. If they want the 2 extra stars, they have to work harder for it. Next, if the student has more to do not give a letter grade for it. Those extra rewards, those better achievements, don't necessarily make it an A to get the golden horse, the super challenge. Give them something other reward that they could have in the class. There are many rewards we can do that are not just a grade, and those should be done for those extra challenges. We could do maybe achievements. Always remember though, the student always has more to do. There should never be a limit to what students can do in the class. If they've explored every activity and they've done every assignment in your class and they've done perfect on them, make harder assignments for students. They want the challenges. Video games are all about that. World of Warcraft started at level 60. Now they can go up to level 80. That's just extra content and more challenging work for the people who play the game because they want more levels and they want more of the special bonuses. Always make sure the students have more to do. Always make the class harder and harder as the class goes on. And if students don't have anything to do, make more for them to do. Make more challenges, more rewards for them. And remember, once again, these rewards do not have to be grades. They could be any other type of rewards we want. Even maybe it's just the ability to brag that they were the ones who did it. Another thing that we need to do for the students who are not succeeding as well is failure should not be a punishment, but just part of feedback. If they failed an assignment, they should have a chance to redo it, a chance to continue to try again. Every student can get that 100% level with all the quests, all the achievements, even higher than 100% in some cases. They can get 150% in the class. They can always get the higher rewards, they can always get the challenges, and if they fail, they just have to keep on trying over and over. Remember, game over is a way to continue. There's always a way to try again. So for every assignment, they can try it again. They can redo them. Always make sure that is incorporated into your grading scheme, that students always have the opportunity and the choice to improve, do better, and try again. Now, when we do this and we talk about a grading scale for the entire class, there are two types of grading scales we want to follow: tiers or levels. You can choose them how you want. Every teacher can choose their own, but these are two typically found in video games. The tiering way is that there's always these basic requirements for all students. That's that 1-star level, and there's also the higher level and the higher level. So think of the tier C, tier B, tier A, if you want to equate it to grades in a class. And those extra assignments per units are the way to gain the more points and achievements. So there is that basic level, but then to do more, there is another challenge and a higher challenge after that. This is the tiering level of classes. So an example is from a faculty that was at Oxnard College. There is the C level work, and those are the assignments they have to do to get a C in the class. However, they are welcome to do these extra assignments in the English class to get a B, but they have to do all those assignments along with the C level assignments. Now, if they want the A, they can do all these extra assignments along with the B level assignments and the C level assignments. But notice in the tiers, they are all optional. They don't have to do these assignments. They can always just do the 70%, and that would be a grade, and they know what that is. But if they want the higher grade, if they want the challenges, they have to do more. Now, notice how the challenges also always get a little more interesting and engaging as they go on. So while we see at the C level work, it's quizzes, responding to reading, small assignments like that, base knowledge. As they go to a higher level, there's outlining, responding. They get to attend an art and lecture, so it's a more interactive lesson. And at the A level, they're starting to watch videos, they're responding to the reading, they're studying patterns of organizations, and they're doing these extra activities. So always make it more engaging and more rewarding to want the B and A level work if you're going to do a tiered system. Make them want to do that. Make it a better breadth requirement from the other classes. Always know one thing: always make sure that for those A-level parts and some even parts beyond the A-level, that parts are designed only for the best players who are rewarded for their skill. Everyone can do it, but you want to make parts that the best in the class are always wanting to get to. Those are those special mounts we see in World of Warcraft, like that golden snake, those leaderboard activities. Always make sure there are parts designed for them so they always have something to do. But make sure there's no negative consequences to the less skilled players. If there's a hard research paper and hard activities that you want for the A+ students who want to really reach that higher level, don't make someone punished for not doing it. So make it still that a person can easily get a C if they don't complete all those parts. Or even maybe they can get an A if they don't complete some of the super challenging parts in the class. Push students for those parts, make them want to get it, but don't make a student suffer and feel bad that they can't achieve that. Just make it extra for those who want the challenge. And if they don't want the challenge, remember, it's still okay to beat the game on easy or normal mode, but that's just that extra way to do it. Now, when we talk about the point system, it's similar to the tier system, but a little different. In the point system, we emphasize low risk equaling low reward. Low risk means that if there's a small amount of points gained from it, there should only be a small amount of reward to do it. So a small quiz every day, small amount of points, they shouldn't have to risk much for it, but they could gain those points overall at the end. Or risking much more for a shorter period of time. So when we say that, we mean that a lot of points should be given for a larger assignment, a little amount of points should be given for a little assignment. But do remember these scale over time as well. Now, also, not every assignment should have a clear end or a clear maximum in it. A quiz or a test could have a clear maximum, but if there is a research paper, if there's a writing assignment, if there's a more creative assignment, don't make it a clear maximum number of points. Don't say the max is 50. Give them all the requirements for points and then make even extra requirements to gain extra points. There should always be more the students could do. If they feel there's a limit to the max they can achieve on an assignment, that's what they'll work for. Always leave things endless so they can always gain more points and always more success. And always make sure that more points lead to greater rewards. If there are greater rewards, they need to gain more points for it. Small things, less points, less reward. Larger assignments, more difficult assignments, more points, greater reward. Now, one more thing to cover with points. Make sure we scale these points over time. That has to do with that easy in the beginning, hard at the end. In the beginning of an assignment, make things easy. end of the year, end of the semester, make things harder. So a quiz at the beginning of the year should be worth 5 points, but a quiz at the end of the year could be worth 50 points. Why? Because even a quiz at the end of the year is worth more and is more challenging than that quiz was at the beginning. Always scale and make a greater reward as they progress through the class. Levels get harder, every assignment gets harder, and there should be more risks as they go further. This is an example of a point scale that really works well that we've seen before in a class. In this type of class, we've seen that students start at 0 to 50 points for level 1, and the points keep scaling up to more and more points. So to get to level 2, it's easy. 51 points, that's all you need. But notice the gap here from level 8 to 9. You need over 1,000 points to reach that gap. So the assignments get harder as the year goes by. More points can be earned as the year goes by. And to make for that jump, once again, we go back to what we said in the last slide. The rewards for even the smallest assignments are better than they are in the beginning of the class. But notice also at the same time, to want students to get more points and get more levels, the risks lead to better rewards. So on a level 1 assignment, yes, if they do it, they maybe get a 1-day homework extension. Or they get 2 extra lives on an assignment, meaning they can get 2 more problems wrong. But by the end of it, look at how powerful some of these rewards can be. They can use a sight spell on a quiz. They can see the quiz 2 minutes ahead of time before everyone else does in the class. 20 bonus points on a quiz. That's a lot of points that students can gain. They can also gain things like an invisible assignment, cancel an assignment for the entire class. All these things are much more challenging, but people have to earn all the points to get it. They have to reach those higher levels. Always make sure the higher rewards are gained for the higher risk. Now, some are going to say for higher level people, isn't this like the kindergarten version of giving candy to kids for doing well in assignments? Sort of, but you don't even need candy. It's all virtual at this point, and it's actually that much better. Also, these rewards encourage students to do more work. So, we see when that's a day homework extension. So yes, they can get a day homework extension on a new assignment, but that implies they have to do an assignment in the future to actually get the reward. Same thing down here. This is a 10% bonus on a group oral presentation. Well, that implies, though, that the student has to give an oral presentation in the future to gain that 10% bonus on. So make the rewards embedded into your class. Make the class give these rewards, and make the class that much more challenging to gain these rewards that make them better in the class and that make them want to do more work in the class in the future. That's it on scores in video games, and I hope you use this information to improve your classes.